Amazing Grace might be one of the most well-known songs on the planet. So where does it come from? Amazing Grace was written by John Newton. Now, John Newton grew up with a strong Christian mother who taught him Bible stories and scriptures and songs. And as a young kid, John could recite Isaac Watts couplets from memory. He's the guy that wrote Joy to the World. Then something awful happened to him. His mom died. So John Newton, his father was out at sea when it happened, but even when he returned, he very quickly remarried an Italian woman and moved away. So John, at a relatively young age, was left with no anchor, with nobody in his life. So he tried to cling to the faith of his youth, and he would have years and periods of fasting and prayer, but then flipped with sin and debauchery, and he was a hard man. He yo-yoed a lot. Eventually he would find himself working on a slave ship. He had such bad behavior that the other crewmates on a slave ship thought he was a rough guy. For a while, John was even captured off the coast of Sierra Leone and forced to work as a slaver. So this went on for years until one March 21st of when he was 22 years old. So his ship, the Greyhound, gets in this awful, tumultuous storm. It's so bad that he and another crewmate go up to the top deck to help out, and the guy in front of him gets picked up by this tremendous wave and is tossed overboard and is never seen again. John races to the helm, and there he battles at the helm of the sea while his crewmates down below are filling holes with straw and bedding and anything else they can find. They battled this storm for 11 hours. John is pouring out his heart in prayer. He's begging and pleading to God for mercy. And it's this moment, it's this storm, it's this point in time when John's life changes forever. He starts to celebrate this day, this March 21st, as his rebirth every year. So he changes his life. He stops swearing. He cleans up his life. He writes about this experience. In fact, his book is so successful that they make more iterations of it. They do an edition in German and French and Dutch, which is pretty rare for a book of that back then to be so successful. It had to have that many editions and prints and languages. So he starts to share his story. John eventually becomes ordained a minister himself. Just that piece of it is a story unto itself. So years later, John is working as a minister, and as he's preparing this lesson for New Year's, he pens his magnum opus, Amazing Grace. It's reasonably successful at this time, but as happens with songs, they'll enjoy a brief popularity and then they'll fall out of vogue. This which happens to have been the case with Amazing Grace. But it resurfaces in America years later, and here's where it really catches fire. Interestingly, it comes with a new melody when it goes over to America. So the original melody, there's probably several of them actually, but when it comes over to America, it picks up the pentatonic melody that you probably know from, meaning it can be played entirely on the black notes. It's kind of pretty, isn't it? You play the whole song just on the black notes. So whether that's of Scottish bagpipes, because that would be pentatonic, or whether it comes from African tradition of spirituals, because most of them are pentatonic, it's unclear. But what's interesting about it is how popular it becomes. It's used on both sides of the Civil War by Union and Confederate. It's used as a requiem by the Cherokee Indians during their Trail of Tears. It's It's sung on the day of MLK's I Have a Dream speech. It's sung when Nelson Mandela is released from prison. It's sung when the Berlin Wall is toppled. It's recorded a lot. I think there's only 2 other songs that actually have more recordings than Amazing Grace. So it's the song. It's the song that defines Christianity. And largely because of this song, the John Newton writes, slavery in England is abolished. In fact, it happens 9 months before his death. I think that is just remarkable, that a man who started as a slave ship worker ends up being the guy who is largely responsible for slavery ending. It's amazing that this song, which starts not just Grace, but Amazing Grace, has endured and has so many different verses to it and so much complexity to it from such a simple melody line. Toward the end of his life, I want to share with you something John Newton said. I think it's just a beautiful quote that sums up his life and his work. And it's, I am not what I ought to be. I am not what I want to be. I am not what I hope to be in another world. But still, I am not what I used to be. I think that is absolutely beautiful. This song, this simple song, this song has endured and helped so many people. I think that's beautiful. If you learned something new today, please share this with a friend who you feel like could use it. If it's, if you like, share one of your favorite recordings of this with someone who you feel like could use it. I'll see you next time.